Hey man, I am super excited to have Tony Housh from Seasons After with us on the MARR Rock Show this evening as they are just getting ready to start a brand new tour. Tony, welcome to the show.
Hey man, thanks for having me on.
I'm so excited to have you guys. You know, I caught you guys on tour with Otherwise a couple weeks ago, and I hadn't seen you in quite a while, and then I saw you were kicking off this amazing new tour, and it's the day before, so tell folks a little bit about the tour you got coming up.
This tour, actually, we're en route right now to Seattle. It kicks off, and there's a band called Everybody Panic, St. Diablo, and Murder FM. And St. Diablo and Murder FM are on select dates, but Everybody Panic will be with us this whole run, and it's going to go from kicking off tomorrow night, and then it will go into, I think it's December 11th is the last date. So it's called South of the Wind Tour, and the name being, we're going to start in the cold and head down to where we want to be.
So how long is the haul tonight, man? You're going from Wichita all the way to Seattle. How long are you guys going to be on the road?
Oh, man, it was a 27-hour drive, and we left yesterday, and we stopped in Denver and stopped for about 4 hours, and then we've hit the road again today, and I think we've got about 15 hours or so left. So,
oh my goodness.
It is a long haul, man, but it's really beautiful out here. You know, looking at I haven't seen some of this side of the country, so it's exciting to me.
So, hey man, for folks that might not know, there's been a slight lineup change to the band. You got a new drummer. Can you kind of introduce your new drummer to the band and how you guys found him?
Well, we have a guy named Dan Johnson, and he's a friend of the band. He's been our friend for quite some time. He drums for a band called Red, and basically he's coming out with us on this run in particular and going to fill in. He's already filled in for us once before when Tim had to take some time off. And then once Tim came back here, he did this last run that you saw us on with Otherwise, and he had decided it was time that he wanted to go home. And so we called Dan up and asked if he wanted to come out. He already knew the music, and he jumped right on it. So he's going to be heading this tour up with us, and hopefully we can get him to work on this next album with us as well.
Yeah, his band's a pretty cool band in their own right, so good call bringing him on the tour, man, no doubt about that. So, hey, the story of your former drummer is a very emotional one, and the whole album, Calamity, Scars, and Memoirs, seems to be an emotional album in general. Talk a little bit about, is that album about one struggle or the whole band struggles in general?
Well, you know, those are the kind of the things, it has to do with the things that we were all dealing with at the time when we were writing it and tracking it and trying to put it all together. And there were a lot of personal struggles that were going on with all of us, and Tim's being one of the struggles that were happening. You know, it was a lot of stress and strain on everyone, and then him and living in the situation that he was dealing with at the time. So that's why the album, I think, came out as more of it's more of a sad kind of album rather than your upbeat, just, you know, I'm ready to fight and kick ass in the world. It is more of a sad kind of album because we had all, you know, we had been through all the things with our record labels and all the powers that be and the things the problems that come with that. And so we were all going through our own personal issues, you know. So it is a reflection of everything that we were all dealing with at the time. Just, you know, when you put something like that out that is that deep with everyone, you don't just come out and start talking about, well, you know, this is what Tony was going through and this is what Tim was going through. But, you know, now that things are kind of unfolding, we can kind of talk about a little bit more of that. So it's a big reflection of some things that we were all going through.
I absolutely love the album, man, and I've been playing it. I take my nightly walk, you know, and I've been playing this one quite a bit ever since I saw you guys and picked it up. Now, is there one song that has risen to the top from that album that when you guys play a show has become the fan favorite off of that record so far?
You know, there's a song on there called So Long Goodbye, and that song seems to be one of those songs that more people know it than we think would know it, if that makes sense. You know, and it was like that whenever we first began playing the song. It's like if you write a hook or even if people don't know the words to a song, but if you've written it right and you're performing it right, you can see people's mouths and words just trying to move with yours. You know, just because they want to be involved, because they're catching onto that hook. And So Long Goodbye has been one of those songs that kind of has that hook that you can see that people really enjoy. They get excited when we're about to play it, when I say what the name of the song is. So that's one that a lot of people have been into, and Lights Out is another one that people really dig on.
Yeah, good call there, because my next question was, that's my personal favorite, is Lights Out off the album. And that one, of course, has the music video out to it. So are you guys thinking about doing another music video, or maybe a live video from the tour, or are we going to hold that off until some new music comes out?
We won't be shooting any more videos for this particular album. We're gonna wrap things up on this album here in mid-December, and basically take some time off, and then in January we're going to go in and start tracking our new record. So this South of the Wind tour is kind of our closing down on this particular album run, and then kick back up in January. We already have the new record is written and ready to go. We just need to go in and retrack and just make it sound right, you know.
So how far in advance are you writing? So, you know, you've probably got some time on your hands as you got this 28-hour drive. So the next record's already written. Are you, like, already working on the one after that, or are you just focused more on the one that's about to come out right now?
We are focused on this one that we'll be tracking and putting together here first this year. We've decided that with Calamity, when we put that record together, just because of the circumstances we were in and legal issues and all of those things that complicate things that you enjoy, when we started putting that together, we played things very safe as far as, I guess, the way that we wrote the music, and we wanted to make it palatable and people able to understand what we were trying to get across, and not chase people off by just too much heaviness and screaming and whatever, which is where a lot of us come from. We enjoy all kinds of music, but we've all been into the metal scene and heavier side of things our whole lives. So with this next record, we're wanting to really take the gloves off, I guess, so to speak, and do the things that we want to do and make it everything that we would want it to be. You know, we've gotten out again and got to moving again and been able to kind of feel out the music industry, and we run our own label, so we've had to really learn a lot of different things, different, tricks in order to get ourselves moving. But now that we've got it, we know how to make things work for ourselves, and so we don't feel like we have to have these chains around us, to be safe or whatever. We can actually do the things that we want to do. So we're really focused on this next album. That's where our attention is about to be put.
So here you are on this big 28-hour run, to your first show of this tour. What's the most difficult thing about the first leg of starting a new tour?
For me, it's these long stretches to get to the beginning. Once you get there, it's rocking and rolling, the whole time. This is usually the most, I guess the boring part is when you've got to drive 15 or 20 or like today, 27 hours to connect up and get something moving. And that's not even bad. I can't complain. I mean, to wake up and see some of the things I got to see today, I'm not complaining at all. So this would be the most boring part, but like I said, by the time we get there tomorrow, it'll be rocking and rolling, and we'll be kicking ass for several weeks.
So are there any particular hobbies on the bus? Is the band into video games or sports, or what are you guys doing to pass some of that time?
Well, Jimmy, our guitar player, he's an avid video game person. I've never been so much into that, and he spends a lot of time playing his guitar. And Dawson works a lot. He's one of the other guitar players. He designs our graphics and management, and he stays busy a lot with just trying to keep things together as far as our business side of things. So I don't know, man. We spend a lot of time working on just different ideas. How can we deliver this better or make this sound cooler? That kind of deal. There's not really a whole lot of hobby type stuff going on with us. We stay pretty focused on what we're doing, and if we're not doing that, then we're probably asleep.
So, we mentioned I saw you guys out on tour with Otherwise not too long ago. Now, and everybody thinks, well, we want to be the headliner because we get that last slot. But I've learned over the years sometimes that's like a late slot, always not always the best. Do you enjoy being the headliner, top of the bill band, or do you like sometimes playing that earlier slot?
I personally have always enjoyed the earlier slot, and it has been that way for me since I was in Dallas. And, playing locally there, I always enjoyed being either main support or even the slot before. It doesn't bother me. I mean, to me, a headliner is someone that can get all the people in the heads in there legitimately, and, every town and every venue you go to, you're not headline material. It depends on where you're at and how your fan base is built. So it always works out when you have, you get that earlier slot because you got people that come in, they're coming in early. You get that mass of people that are still sober and they remember what you just did. For the headlining slot, it gets a little patchy. They tend to, have had more to drink and they're ready to go home, or they've left because they've had too much to drink, and your crowds tend to thin out. And so my slot is always going to be the earlier one until we were to take over the world, if that ever happens.
Hey, so one last thing. You guys have been out and around for a long time now and toured with a lot of bands, and I always am interested in some of the relationships one band has with another band. Who are some of the bands that you just developed close friendships with over all the touring years? I mean, not to call anybody up, but who are some of your close friends with other bands?
Well, man, this year has been a little different for us because I don't know if it's because of just the way that we've built our business model this time around, but the bands that we have toured with this year have probably become more friends with us than some of the bands of the past. In the past, there seemed to be these kind of walls built up between the bands that we were touring with, and there's the whole I'm cool and you're not, or whatever, I don't know. But there's this kind of this high school thing that can go on from time to time. And this year has been really kick-ass because we've gotten tight with all the bands that we went out with. We went out with Flaw for, 5 weeks or something like that. And I was a big fan of Flaw. Never expected them to be, guys that I would know like I do now. But, we stay in touch with those guys to this day. And another great band is Otherwise. At first it was, everybody's checking everyone out. It was like, it's kind of like high school its first day, but within a couple of weeks, totally badass guys. They, gave us a lot of tips on how to improve things that we do. And Like the Storm is the same way. So it's been real cool, man. And it's funny whenever you get involved with listening to someone's music and you kind of build a relationship with that song or that band and the message or whatever, but you finally meet them, and it's cool to have them turned into people with you, and just kind of sit around and talk about whatever. For us it was weightlifting one day, just whatever. So it's been fun, man.
Well, man, you picked some good guys and Otherwise. We've been friends with those guys for a while now and absolutely love their music. And, hey, man, hats off to you. Man, you guys were a killer set when I saw you live a couple weeks ago. And I'm definitely encouraging folks, get out there for the South for the Wind tour as they make their way from what's probably not chilly yet, Seattle, but making their way north to south all across the country. So once again, the album to pick up right now is Calamity, Scars, and Memoirs, and they're going to be doing new music starting in January, working on the new release. So Tony Housh from Seasons After, everybody. Tony, thanks so much for being here on the Rock Show this evening.
Hey, thanks, man. We appreciate it.